I want to share with you today some wisdom that I learned from a lady called Sister Clementina. Now, Sister Clementina was a Nigerian nun, and she was also a hospital chaplain. And I did a placement with her a few years ago. And we were walking through the ward, the paediatrics ward where she worked, and we came across a mum and her 6-month-old boy. And we stopped and we chatted with this mum. And her son was about to have his 3rd operation. He was really unwell. And as we chatted and we listened to her and we also prayed, she began to cry. And we remained with her for a while. And then eventually she composed herself and put on her game face, put on her armour again, and we moved on. And Sister Clementina and I afterwards spent a bit of time reflecting on that experience. And she said to me, "Do you know what, Sarah? Those were good tears. They were healing tears." And we reflected how somebody who had to remain so strong for most of the time and had to keep all of these feelings actually buried quite deep inside in order to be able to cope with day-to-day life, was afforded the opportunity to just spend a few minutes allowing herself to feel, to become a little bit undone. And she couldn't remain in that place. She needed to put her armour and her game face back on. But actually there was something important about being given that opportunity to acknowledge her pain and suffering and that of her son and her family. And it strikes me that Good Friday is an invitation for us to have one of those moments. Today we're invited to sit at the foot of the cross, to remain for a short while in that place of pain and desolation, to open ourselves up to feel the experience of suffering and loss. So as we reflect on Jesus and his experience on the cross, we also reflect on the experience of those around, the women who'd followed him faithfully, who observed from a short distance, the experience of the disciples who found it all too much and had run away because they couldn't cope with what they were feeling and all that was going on. But we also allow ourselves to acknowledge our own pain, our own suffering, our disappointments, our loss, and the things that are going on in our lives. We take a moment to become undone, to cry those healing tears that Sister Clementina told me about and which I observed that day. And we can say to Jesus, "Jesus, my heart breaks for the experience of suffering you had on the cross. And Jesus, I know that your heart breaks for the pain and the suffering that exists in the world and in our own lives and situations." And perhaps say to Jesus, "As I sit with you on the cross in your pain and suffering, please would you come and sit with me in my pain and my suffering in my situation." So that's the invitation I would like to extend to you today, to take a moment to open up and allow yourselves to feel all of the feelings, all of the things that you're going through, those sadnesses, those disappointments, those fears, and that loss, the grief that you feel. Not that we remain in that place, because of course it is called Good Friday. And it's called good because we know the end of the story. We know that darkness and death do not get the last word. We know that it's good because even in those darkest moments, God is at work. And we know that resurrection and life is coming. So we can hold on to hope because resurrection and life is coming.